Hello everyone. Welcome to Chris's Occult Corner. A little bit of a staycation, house sitting my brother's place, and this is one of their cats. This is Onyx. And when I do these little getaways, I like to kind of dive into something. Last time I did a little stay, it was tarot, and this time I'm diving into the history of witchcraft and demonology by Summers Montaigne. Very interesting book. The beginning of it so far is just kind of like a history. Oh, I didn't bring my tripod with me. Uh, it's like a history of witchcraft and the occult in Europe, and basically starts out with the Manichaeism, and about the church's efforts to completely extinguish members of that quote-unquote cult. I believe that the Manichaeans, or Manichaeism, is what we call today Cathars. And yeah, the church was rather ruthless in trying to genocide the Cathars out of history. But there's some great examples that I'm reading about. This individual in Antwerp around the 1100s, by the name of Tancheline, but I'm seeing online that, like, and this is an older book, like this book was originally written in the 1800s, so some of the naming conventions might not be correct, and so I'm not too sure on how to pronounce that in today's words. Oh man, this is ridiculous with one hand, and this is a big book, so I don't want it to fall on the floor. But I was just reading about this gentleman, and he had come into Antwerp, and what the church basically said was, like, he wanted to overthrow the church. They charged him with all kinds of heresies against the church, and bestiality, incest, all kinds of stuff. Um, but it goes on to say, so, like, this guy Tenchelin, um, let's see if I can read it off here. So he basically took over this town, and him and his cronies were just bringing decadence to every street corner by the sounds of it. And then it talks about how in 1116 a priest, maddened by the outrages and profanities of this hellish crew, scattered the heretic's brains upon the deck of his royal barge, as one afternoon he was sailing in pompous state down the river Seed. This book is pretty, what's the word I want to use? Um, Stark, straightforward, no nonsense, no bullshit. And yeah, when you're reading lines like that about scattering the heretic's brains upon the deck of the royal barge, yeah, they had no love for witchcraft, witches, sorcerers, or really anybody who was trying to overthrow the church. Um, and they've talked about already in the book how, uh, you know, a lot of the tropes, I guess you would say, about witchcraft that we take today, like witches flying on brooms, going to the Sabbath, dancing with the devil, those things did happen, but they were not as described at all. Like, they were very seriously exaggerated. A lot of times they're saying that, so when they're talking about witches flying to the Sabbath, like literally flying, they usually rub this ointment all over their bodies and onto the broomstick, and this allegedly gave them the power to fly. And what it turns out was is a lot of exaggeration and panic, kind of like the Satanic Panic, but back in, like, between the pre-hundreds to the Middle Ages, right up until the 19th, early 19th century. Um, that, yeah, there was all this panic about this. So when people were talking about, they witnessed witches flying on brooms, It was more usually that they would maybe come across, and no doubt that there were people getting together that were practicing. But as for the actual magic of flying through the air on a broom, it was usually an exaggeration of seeing a group of witches with their brooms or sticks or whatever, and they were jumping up and down, because usually, and I mean, we're not there, so we don't know, but it's assumed that some of the ointments that they used were hallucinogenic and may have whipped them up into frenzies of hallucination. So these people might have even thought that they were flying, but to the people who saw them, they were merely jumping up and down, and that was exaggerated. Um, Going to the actual Sabbaths itself, where the devils appear, and the devils usually, got a bunch of minions around them, wasn't really the devil. It was people dressed up, playing the part, playing a role, much in the same way that some of the Luciferian, like the early Anton LaVey Church of Satan, like it's very a lot of ritual and pomp and costumes. So somebody is playing the role of Satan, not actually Satan appearing himself. And that's kind of the cool part about this book, is just that it kind of wipes away the supernatural aspect of witchcraft, in the sense of what witches actually did and what people saw and what they were kind of blamed for. So as I'm going to dive back into this book. Thanks for watching, everybody. I got a frog in my throat. I'm going to start coughing here in a minute. So please like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you in the next video.